Hey, Hey Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. Well, it turned out to be a partly cloudy day, and it's about 65 degrees outside. Now, one of the things that I wanted to cover today is how do you recover a greenhouse that's overheated during the day if you don't have exhaust fans? So currently our exhaust fans, they're still under construction, they're not working yet. And this house has been closed all day. We've had broken sunshine. It was raining this morning, but I can tell by looking at the condensation on the inside that this greenhouse is overheated, and we need to go in and now open it up and start to begin to draw that temperature down, but to do it in a way that we don't actually kill our plants. Now, normally in a commercial greenhouse, this wouldn't be a big deal. Your exhaust fans would come on, it would cool the house when it got to your set temperature, usually about 65 or 70 degrees. The vent fans would kick open, and the greenhouse temperature would be slowly brought down. If you have a small residential greenhouse, or if you have a greenhouse that's malfunctioning, this is a process that you're going to want to do to be able to save your plants and prevent them from looking like nice fresh lettuce and going to dried parsley in about a half hour to 45 minutes. Yeah, it can happen. So I haven't peeked inside yet. Let's go take a look, and then I'll explain kind of the whys and the hows and what we're going to do to recover this greenhouse. So this greenhouse is about 94 degrees, and there's enough humidity in here that my glasses are fogging up, and we've got water actually dripping from the ceiling. So I want to bring this temperature down so that it's more comfortable for me to work in, and I can moderate the humidity a little bit. So here's the process that we're going to do. So first, you can see we are at 94 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. Now, we've got to bring it down slowly, and I want to bring this temperature down about the course of an hour. So we're going to take about an hour to do this, and I'm going to start by just slowly opening different parts of the greenhouse to allow the air to naturally flow through, but to do it at a metered, controlled rate. We don't want to do this quickly. We want to do it slowly over a period of time. Now, the reason that we're going to look at doing this over a period of time is in our plants, on the underside of the leaves, they have something called stomatic cells. These are the vents or the pores of the plant. So when you're out in a hot day and you look at your arm and you see the little bits of moisture that start glistening and then they evaporate and disappear, plants do the same thing. They have pores on the bottom side of their leaves that they can open to vent out water and bring in gases, but mainly it's vent out water so that they can cool themselves. So plants do, in essence, also sweat. Now, just like if you went to somewhere hot and then went outside, you would struggle in that transition. Plants themselves also struggle in that transition. We as humans are able to react to it a little bit quicker, but plants have to do this slowly. So they have two guard cells on either side of their stomatic, or their pores. Those are your stomatic guard cells. And with those are controlled by actually water pressure. So if there's a lot of water pressure in there, those stomatic cells open up and allow that pore to be open. As that plant begins to dry out, those cells lose moisture and they start to collapse back together, sealing up that pore. So if we go through and we open up this greenhouse and bring the temperature from the 94 degrees down to the current temperature of 65, our plants are going to severely wilt really, really quickly because there's not going to be enough time to close those stomatic cells before there's damage to the plants. So if you're in an area where you've got really hot temperatures, and I've been into greenhouses that have been 135, 94, not bad. 135, the only way I top out is 135 is I know that's as high as that thermometer went, and as long as the greenhouse is sealed and the moisture stays high, plants can handle that. So I've been there. They can handle 135 degrees. What they can't handle is fast transitions from 135 degrees or from 100 degrees down to 65 in a short period of time. So what we're going to do is we'll open a couple of vents, we'll allow this temperature to come down slowly, we'll open our front door, we'll prop that, and we'll allow this natural airflow to go through, and it's going to bring down the humidity and the temperature, and we're going to bring it down slowly. And since our greenhouse vents aren't yet functioning, don't worry, they're not going to kick on. I'm going to gently open up my louvers, just kind of sticking my fingers through, and I'm going to place a piece of metal to hold those louvers open. Okay, this is going to allow that air to begin to flow through. I'd open the door, but I have that sealed up right now, so we're just going to stick with a louver. Now I can open one, and then in about 20 or 30 minutes, I'll open the other. But this is going to slowly allow the humidity and the temperature to start lowering down. Now, when you do this, you also need to remember that your plants do need to have moisture in the soil before you begin this process. So if you come in and things look wilted and everything looks like it's about to die and they're dried out, water them first in the really hot temperature and allow them some time to absorb that moisture. You know, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour before you begin that cool down process. Right now, checking our plants, looking at everything, we've got good turgor on the leaves, we've got plenty of moisture in the pots, so they're good to handle this transition. It's not going to hurt them much for us to do that. And in fact, I could work in this greenhouse and leave it just at this temperature and humidity. It's a little uncomfortable, and I start sweating a lot in here just like my plants do. So we've got one vent open. We'll go ahead and start propping the door, and we'll allow this temperature to start coming down. So we're going to prop this door just a little bit to allow this transition to occur slowly. So I'm not going to open it wide up. I've got some rocks here that'll prop it halfway, and we're going to allow this temperature to come down slowly, and I'm going to watch the thermometer during this process to make sure that it does take time for this to occur and it's not a rapid change. One of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to monitor the greenhouse while this process occurs to make sure I don't have anything that's wilting. If stuff starts to wilt when I do this process, I'm immediately going to close things and allow that humidity to come back up, and then I'm going to tend to those plants by watering them to make sure that they're ready for this transition. So I've got our door propped about 2 foot, and that's about all the wider I want it to be. There is a gentle breeze outside, and I can feel that the air is moving through the greenhouse now. Yep, and I want this to occur slowly. Now, while I do this, I am going to go ahead and water some of my smaller stuff, my stuff in 4-inch pots, anything in plug trays, but anything that's going to need that immediate moisture to start replacing what it's lost during the hot temperatures. We're going to care for that first, and we're going to slowly bring this temperature down. Now again, this is an emergency recovery, but we have to do it in a slow rate. If we do it too quickly, we're going to lose a large portion of our plants, or they're going to be damaged from drying out too quickly. Those leaves will turn from lettuce to parsley in about 30 minutes. I've seen it happen many times. Okay, so if you are that homeowner and you've got that small greenhouse, don't panic. That's the first #1 thing to do, is to not panic, but make sure that you recover this slowly and you just take your time. Now, even though I do have circulation fans in here, I want this process to occur naturally and slowly. So I've got those fans, they're just continuing to run as they were, but I'm not putting them in any doorways. I don't want this process to occur quickly. I want it to occur slowly so that my plants are okay. So if you as a greenhouse owner do take these steps and you take a slow transition from hot and humid down to ambient temperatures, and you do that over a long period of time, you will save your plants from damage and make sure that you don't have a crop loss. Also, bringing that temperature down is going to allow your workers or yourself to have a much more enjoyable time in your greenhouse. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned something. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.